And our first and final delegate, Terence Poirier, I believe is in person, not on Zoom. Okay, I had a note that you were on Zoom, but good to see you here in person. Yeah, the floor is yours. You have up to 5 minutes. I'm sorry to make you run across town.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ironically enough, I had a brain injury, misunderstood the instructions. Got the brain injury from riding a designated bike lane 13 years ago, oddly enough. Okay, I'm really upset that with the 7th Street changes coming, or hopefully we can somehow work something out. I go up and down 7th Street several times a day. I hardly ever see a cyclist. Oddly enough, the other day, Councillor Fontaine had a cafe, can't remember anyways, cafe open house, so to speak. And there's only 2 cyclists there, and they both actually live in New West. My issue is people with disabilities like myself now. Someone in the meeting said, well, they can wheel a wheelchair up 7th Street, okay? Well, I challenge anyone to push a manual wheelchair up 7th Street. Coming up from Columbia up to where I live, just on Royal, in a year I wore out rather, 1 power mobility scooter. I wore it out. The hill's too steep. In a wheelchair or a power chair, which has a much shorter base than a wheelchair, it will tip over. Okay, on my mobility scooter, I've been up on the wheelie wheels with ease. Okay, so my issue is really, one, I don't see any cyclists, or very few. There's a designated bike lane on 5th Street. Over to the east is a designated bike lane. It goes through to, if I'm not mistaken, 10th Street. And anyways, the issue I have is it's fine and dandy when you're going north. But I live on Gloucester, which is 1 block off Royal. And between, 6th and 8th, trying to get home. We're talking about a 15-minute city, okay? Fine if you're running around the city, maybe it's 15 minutes, but for us that work out of town, or like Vancouver, Burnaby, Surrey, whatever, it just increases our time. It just makes it harder to get home. Longer in traffic. We're talking about pollution, greenhouse gases, the province is on fire, and we are stuck in traffic. I find it really frustrating with this proposal. You want me to go on 6th or 8th, and it's backed up. So I'm stuck in traffic, trying to get home, when I could go along 7th. And when on 7th Street, the T intersection, of course, is Royal City Centre. So when people are coming out of Royal City Centre, that's a crazy in itself. Like you go, say if you leave Royal City Centre, you turn left, you can't turn left on 6th Street, you have to go straight through. Or if you go right, then you got 8th Street, and there's more traffic. You can't get through. If this goes through, the people on Ash Street are not going to be happy because it's just going to increase their traffic. And I read in the proposal that you want to make changes to 4th Avenue between 7th and 6th Street. Okay, that traffic is already backed up. It can be backed up between 6th and 8th. And my big issue there is on if you're going north, just on the east side of 7th on, sorry, I'm dealing with the brain injuries, just bear with me, folks. So you're going north on 7th, you turn right on east on 4th Avenue, right in a corner, there's a daycare. Okay, there's so much traffic there. And unfortunately, a lot of pedestrians, a lot of cyclists are not clever. They're not. I've seen people drag their kids in the rain, in the middle of the night, in between parked cars, trying to cross 4th Avenue. So I don't see how this is going to make things better. It's just going to make things worse. And you're really affecting people with disabilities. Okay? So a lot of us, unfortunately, I can still ride a bike. I don't ride it far, but I can still ride a bike. I rely on my car a lot, especially on bad days. And there was a lady at the meeting the other day. She's very much in the same boat. So she can't ride a bike. She needs her car. So she's going to have to, it's like New York City or Vancouver. She's going to have to keep driving around the block, making it way further than it has to be. I'm begging the city to come up with a different plan and to make it truly inclusive for all. Thank you.
For your delegation. Councillor Fontaine?
Thank you very much, Terence. Thanks for the.
I'm really sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for coming out and for making it out. You can stay at the podium if you want. I do have a few questions just based on the presentation from Terence, and like you said, we did have the Councillor Cafe. I think it was last week.
Yeah.
And there were, I think, about 25, 35 people there,
Yeah.
give or take. A number of people did convey very similar concerns that
Yeah.
you had around mobility, especially those
Yeah.
with mobility challenges. So I appreciate you bringing that up and raising that kind of in a more public forum. I guess I have a few questions for staff. Based on some of the feedback that we did hear at the forum, a number of folks were asking me, I guess the three questions, I'll just pose them and perhaps staff can respond. First of all, what is the status of the project? Because they've received letters stating that this was starting in August, and I don't think anything's started yet. I haven't seen.
No.
Yeah, so they wanted to know what the status is of the project in terms of construction. Secondly, what is the cost to the city of this project? What is the projected cost to construct this on 7th Street? And then the last question that people did ask was around whether or not there's still the ability, as Mr. Poirier says, for any further feedback or any further consideration from council or from City Hall to perhaps amend or to adjust based on community feedback. So those are the three questions I'm summarizing. There was a lot of other questions, but those were the key ones that,
Yeah.
that got raised last week.
The Director of Engineering.
Thank you. Through the chair, so the project has been tendered and construction is expected to take a couple of months, so it's meant to start in the next few weeks. So the design is finalized and the tender's been awarded. This is a year one project from the Active Transportation Network Plan, and the engagement that we did a few months ago received quite a bit of feedback. We asked for input on a couple of different options and took that feedback and refined the design based on that. What we learned through that engagement and the other early work that we did is that traffic volumes, especially towards the north end, are well above recommended for bike route protection from traffic. So where we landed with the design is that we're planning a two-way protected bike lane on the west side of the street and converting much of 7th Street to one-way northbound motor vehicle traffic. With the input from the engagement, we modified the proposed traffic diverter at 4th Avenue and decided to continue to allow northbound through traffic rather than requiring motorists to turn right. Yeah, so the design that was refined was aiming to preserve as much on-street parking as possible. That was something that we heard loud and clear through the earlier round of engagement. So the resultant design preserves as much parking as possible, but results in a one-way movement towards Royal City Centre. Happy to answer any other questions. I think I got all three of those. What did I miss? The cost.
Yeah, cost.
Just a minute. Just under 1 million. So the design is primarily a quick build, so it's a relatively low disruption type of project using quick build materials rather than the digging and other disruptive works.
Yeah, can I just add? Sorry?
Sorry, thank you for the delegation. We don't usually have a exchange after. It's
I just
yeah.
thought of something. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your delegation.